So this week, the legislature will continue considering measures that could curb the emergency powers of the governor. The bills are specifically being proposed because of the COVID restrictions Governor Holcomb mandated starting last year. Today, our political insiders take a look at the governor's claim that those bills violate Indiana's constitution.
And the interesting point is, if in fact the Constitution sets forth when the legislature can be brought in and it's under the governor's purview, then the legislature can't change it. If the legislature is suggesting that they can call themselves in and have a statute that they pass that is consistent with the Constitution, then you could argue that they could have called themselves in already. Also, I haven't seen any legislation that has changed what the governor's put in place for the last year. So what I think this is an interesting point of is it may be unconstitutional, or the legislature may have always had the power and they haven't exercised it. So we'll see what the final answer of that is. And frankly, if it passes, we'll probably see it go up in the courts and see what it is.
The governor has to be held accountable to managing emergencies, which are emergent, short-term, and long-term crises. Obviously, in February, March, April, we had an emergency. People needed to be helped, our state needed to keep running, et cetera, et cetera. The governor needed to make some decisions. Now, as we go longer term in managing the crisis, some of those powers that were continued to be exercised when the legislature was no longer in session may need to be reined in. But on the other side, a legislative special session is expensive. If an emergency is an emergency, it takes time to get that done. But also, any emergency typically means that we're going to spend money in a way that is different than what the budget may have allocated for when they passed the budget, which the legislature has a hand in. So there's a lot of sides to this argument, and we do need to think about this for the future because we saw the unprecedented happen, and there's no telling what's going to happen next.